It's been a week since my last video. It only seems like a day. But we'll have a catch up because I have got some things to tell you. So it's been a busy week this week, and I'm going to take you through it. I'm going to try and keep it quicker. I don't want to drag it on to like 40 minutes or anything like that. But the week itself, so after last week's revelations that I really wanted to move forward, I've started putting things in motion, and I'll tell you about it. But the week itself, I got an early start. I started early on Monday morning. I'd got a pre-booked job that I picked up, and it was from Runcorn, and it was going to Barrow-in-Furness, and I'd pre-quoted on it, and I had added money onto this quote because of what it was going. Barrow-in-Furness is not a hotbed of work. And when I put the quote in, I actually explained the reason for my price. That, I would have to add some money on because I'm not likely to pick up a job there. And obviously I'll be kind of making my way back towards Preston before I get a job. And it didn't even argue, actually. They just rang and gave me the job. So that was a great start to the week. So I got myself up early and I got to the site in Runcorn, which was a very well-known kitchen cabinet manufacturer, and I had to load 6 carcasses and take them to their site in Barrow. And while I was there was other guys there from the CX doing jobs, and I met a new guy, a guy who's only just started on the CX. His name's Cash, and here's a picture of him. What a nice lad. And he actually recognised me from YouTube. And it was me that has to take his picture to put it on, by the way. He didn't badger me. But he's not long started, so I'm wishing him all the best. And I hope he does well. I have spoken to him a couple of times, and he seems to be really doing well. And he's a proper grafter. He's not frightened of hard work. So, Cash, it was great to meet you. Keep in touch. And fingers crossed for you, pal. Fingers crossed. So then, I did that job, decided to make my way back, and then I got a phone call from a shipper that we all know. I don't like to mention him too much, but I'm going to have to because he's in the next video. So, James from Freddie Fetcher asked me if I was available to do a job for him the next day, but it did mean picking up from the customer's place this afternoon, ready to take it down to that there London. So I made my way to the yard to collect the stuff. And who happens to be in the yard at the same time? None other than Sir Freddie Fletcher himself. We're here today. I'm picking up to do a job for Freddie Fletcher. And here he is. Look, beardless. And here is the Freddie-mobile all loaded for his job.
All strapped up and loaded for a nice 6-hour drive.
So what was the reason for the beard? Was it a wifey thing?
No, just every now and then I get rid of it.
Yeah, I do the same,
But last time I got rid of it was my wedding day to surprise her.
And so what's the surprise this time? You look about 10. Well, I'm here, mate, to do this job for you. So I'm going to turn this off now, and I'll feature you on my channel. So you can see that he's looking pretty young without his beard. I've not got a beard, and I look about 90. But then again, he is younger than me anyway. Anyway, so I got that job, and I got myself up nice and early, and I got myself down to North London. It's Harrow. I mean, I'm not great on the old London geography. Is it London, Harrow? I don't know. Anyway, it was northish of London. 2 drops, one at a communications tower, and dropping off some, electronic gizmos for the engineers there. Met them on the site. And secondly, to like a telephone exchange, again dropping up some weird and wonderful electronic gizmos for some guys working on the roof of that. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Everything, most of the jobs that I've done for James have been pretty good, actually. And I decided I wasn't going to hang about in that there London. It's not a place for a northern monkey like me to hang about. Mainly because I haven't got a clue where I am most of the time. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out and head north and hit like Luton, Bedford, you know, Milton Keynes kind of area, because I've done all right in those places in the past. So that's exactly what I did. Hit the motorway, got up the M1, and got myself parked up in I think it was in Luton, a Tesco in Luton or Dunstable, one of the two. It was all the same to me. And started looking for work to take me north. And then what happened then? I'll tell you what happened then. I got an ADR job. An ADR job that I bid for, and it was going to Scotland. And it was kind of late morning now-ish. And this was going to Kilmarnock. And it was mega money that I bid for it. Because it's ADR. And ADR, I run at a certain amount per mile. And because you're carrying dangerous goods at the end of the day. I put the bid in, half not expecting it, because a lot of these ADR jobs that go out, sometimes they're just out for quote, and it doesn't actually materialise. You know, you might put a price in, and several other drivers might put a price in. They'll put those prices to their customer, and they might say, nah, it's not worth it. But as it happens, I got this job. They rang me. How far away are you? 20 minutes. Can you do it? Yes. And off I trotted. I went and did it. And I knew then it was going to be a long drive. I knew that when I picked the goods up, they were ADR, by the way. I knew that it was going to be gone half five before I get up to where I was going. It actually was a hospital in Kilmarnock. It's probably the hospital. I'm sure they've only got one, a big one. And when I got there, there was goods in, or estates as they call it in hospitals, that was shut. But I managed to find security guard. He got some porters together, and we handballed everything off. Took it off the pallet, handballed it off. They signed for it. Took a picture just to be safe, to prove it was there. And then I knew that I wasn't going to be driving home. I was absolutely knackered. I'd got up at 3 o'clock to set off to London that morning. It was now pushing 6 o'clock. So I booked myself a travel lodge, and then wandered off to fill the van up and made this little video while I was there, because I was elated. Well, that's been a really long day, but it's been really fruitful. But I've ended up in Kilmarnock. But it does have an Asda. I've probably done about 13 hours today, which is a long day. It's about 6 in the evening. It's going to be too late to drive back out. I'm absolutely knackered because I was up at about just after 3. So I booked myself into a travel lodge. I've just been in the Asda, got myself a bit of food. I've got some clean clothes in my overnight bag anyway. So I'm going to get to the travel lodge, catch up on some paperwork, have a nice shower, something to eat, a brew, and get a really good night's sleep. And then I'll have a look on the feed, see if I can pick anything up in the morning if it doesn't look too busy. But I did really make decent money today. It's my record. So if I drive home empty, I'm not bothered. As you can see from that picture following the video, travel lodges, they're not all that dear, but they are clean. They're not, there's nothing special about a travel lodge, is it? But it's clean, you get a shower, and I got an absolutely solid night's sleep. So, you know, I really can't moan. And then in the morning, I looked at the feed, and it just seemed that Scotland hadn't woken up. And I knew, because I'd spoke to Neil from Neptune earlier in the week, and things weren't all that busy up there. So I thought, there's a good chance that I may be driving home empty. But to tell you the truth, that day, I'd made the most ever money in one day that I have ever made on the Courier exchange. It'll probably never happen again. But you were talking three zeros. It'll never happen again. Well, it might, but it was. So I didn't care if I drove home empty. It was absolutely amazing. It was like a freak, wasn't it? Getting a really well-paid job down to London, and then picking up an ADR job all the way up to Scotland. Yes, it's cost me a night out, but for 40 odd quid, you know, you stay warm, dry, in a comfy bed. It's better than keeping in the back of the van, to be perfectly honest. And now the colder weather's setting in, I don't think I'll be doing none of that caper. This fat boy's not for sleeping in the van in the winter. So I decided, rather than hang about in Scotland, I'm going to head back. I wasn't bothered. It's a lovely drive across from Kilmarnock to where you join the M74 anyway. So I simply set off driving. Now, when I hit the M74, I'd set my journey as if I was going to say like Preston. But the trouble is with that is that it kind of gives you jobs that are on the way, although there's not much between the Scottish borders and Preston. But it doesn't kind of get anything to the side, you know, significant to the side. So I thought, I'll just have a look. And this is where I advocate that you do this. I got my iPad. I pulled up in the services on the M74 and I looked to see what work was available nationally. And whilst I did that, I noticed there was work coming from Workington, which is right on the western Cumbrian border. And the feed wasn't picking that up. The journey wasn't picking that up. I wouldn't have known about that unless I'd have looked on the desktop version. So because of that, I bid on it, and it was a long wheelbase job, and it was going to D-side. And I bid good, strong money on it because obviously Workington's out of the way. And I got the job. A really generous price. It's not ADR or anything. In fact, what it was heavy. According to the actual information given by the shipper, it was 1,200 kilograms, which, you know, I don't know. My van on paper can carry, you know, quite a bit of weight, but in practice, I keep my maximum payload as 1,250. So 1,200 is pushing it a bit, maybe, I don't know. It's borderline. So I thought, well, I'll go for that. They gave me the job, made me way to Workington, loaded it up, and it was heavy. But I'll show you what it is because they are weighty. And it was these steel rollers. And what the guy said when he loaded me up, he was a really friendly guy. He said, look, what I suggest you do is go on the weighbridge on your way out and the security guards will read the weight of your van and you'll be able to see if you're okay or not. So I did that. Went on the weighbridge and the guy put his thumbs up, stuck his out the window and said, yeah, you've got 150 kilos to spare. Maybe they didn't quite weigh 1,200 kilos anyway. But either way, I was sound. It meant that I got a great job going back to the northwest, which was absolutely fantastic. So now the Thursday, it was a day off. A good friend of mine, his mum passed away a week or two ago, and it was her funeral. So obviously I took the day off, went to the funeral, paid my respects, which left today. Friday, I'd done so well in the week that I wasn't bothered about today, but I thought I will work. So all I've done is a couple of fairly simple, easy jobs. I did a local job this morning about 10 o'clock. I didn't even start early. And then I did a job from, again, where I live in OL2. And that went up to Chester. A long wheelbase van job. Got a reasonable price for it. And then I'm now parked up near Warrington. I bid on a couple of jobs. I'm not bothered if I get them or not. I've done so well this week. I'm only 25 miles away from home. I think I'm going to go home. So I thought I'll take the opportunity to do this, get this out of the way. And all in all, I have had a fantastic week. I've only worked 4 days, but with actually getting a record-breaking day, it's made the week brilliant. Now, in terms of the other things, I mentioned that I was going to look into getting a website and look into getting business cards in order to move myself forward to the next stage. And I've only gone and got myself a website. Have a look at this. So here is my website. Subscriber called Lee's done it for me. And it's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want it all singing, all dancing. But it's got some images there, obviously, of the vehicle and the ADR goods and things that we can carry. Details about us, or me, if you want to be picky. Saying what we carry, what we don't, I've made sure I put just the things I carry. I haven't put what I don't carry because that's kind of a negative, isn't it? But a bit like Firkin, I don't do explosives and I don't do radioactives. Little testimony there from a satisfied customer. There is a WhatsApp button on here so that if you want to get in touch, it's just there. It'll immediately go through to my WhatsApp page, and then you've also got the phone number, and if you want to contact us, it takes you to a contact where you can send us an email questionnaire and asking for quotes. So I think it's good enough. It shows that the firm's legitimate. Got a good, it's anvillogistics.co.uk, so it's not a bad address. So there it is. And if you're interested in getting a cheeky website made up, Lee is available. And Lee, what I'll do is, after this little video clip, I'll give you his details. How about that? So that's not bad, is it? Eh? I'm really chuffed with it. It's not fancy. It's not, all singing, dancing, but it does everything I want it to. And it gives like an air of legitimacy to the company. And it emphasises that, I'm going to specialise in hazardous goods. Now that was done by a great bloke called Lee. He reached out to me in the comments on the last video I posted and said, I can help you with that. And I think he's done a great job. And he said that if anyone else is interested, it's not expensive and he'd be more than happy to help you. Now, Lee has just himself started on the CX. He's now on the CX. So if you fancy having a website made by him, you can contact him through his CX. I'm going to tell you the name of the company. It's Francis Couriers, and his CX number is 236816, and you'll find his contact information on there. I personally am not going to give you his phone number because that's probably not right. But if you're a CX member, you're able to find anybody's phone number who's on the CX anyway, aren't you? And I've checked with him if he's all right with that. So Lee will do you a website for a really, really reasonable cost. And you tell him what you want and he can do it. He can do lots of other things on that. I just didn't want any more doing. I've also ordered some business cards. So I got a recommendation off our good friend Neil at Neptune Couriers. Told me someone who did his and spoke to them. And I've ordered some business cards now with the website number on. So things are taking a step forward. Once these cards arrive, that's when I'll have to start thinking about trying to find some work of my own off the CX in order to supplement my income. And as I said before, it's going to be ADR work because it pays better and there's less competition. So it makes sense, doesn't it? And then finally, I've got myself a job for Monday morning already. So everything's in place. It's a long wheelbase job and it's going to near Folkestone. So that's a pickup early Monday. Not too early though. I would have preferred it earlier, but nothing you can do. I'm going to Folkestone. It's a long way. It's a decent paying job. It's guaranteed that I've got a decent job on Monday. There is the issue that it's going to be mid-afternoon when I deliver. I'm not likely to pick anything going back up north, so I'll probably look at tramping. Not necessarily in Folkestone. I might consider whizzing round the old M25 and sighting myself on my favourite hotspots north of London, and then trying to pick up something to get me back up north on the Tuesday morning. So that's my week this week. It's been fruitful. I've had my record-breaking day. I've had a really well-paid week. I have absolutely nothing to complain about. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you watch this video and you liked it, would you please press the like button? Doing that helps get the video further out and helps people who may be interested in coming into this business themselves, hopefully. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be great. It doesn't cost anything subscribing. It's completely free. It just means that you will get access to the videos that are put out straight away. It'll just come on your feed. And that's it. I hope everybody is doing well. If you do have any specific questions, I will always try and answer them. And if you've got anything that you'd like a video making about, you know, a subject that you think you'd like me to cover, if I think I'm qualified to cover it, I'll make a video about it. I know lots of other people do this as well. I'm just blatantly copying them in an attempt to keep my subscribers up. But thanks everyone for watching. Have a fantastic weekend.